Hi, I'm Dennis Walters, and today we're going to talk about how to spot a cult. With today's technology, cults are using social platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok as a method of recruiting and trapping members into their organization. This video provides guidance to help protect your friends and family against the predatory actions and serious consequences of participating in a cult in our modern world. High control groups, or cults, often use different forms of control, manipulation, coercion, and undue influence in order to hold power over members. This can be broken down into 4 parts: behavioral, informational, thought, and emotional control mechanisms. Spotting a cult can be difficult, as cults often try to mask their true nature and manipulate their members. However, there are some signs that can indicate that a group may be a cult. Let's go through these signs together, and hopefully, you can prevent someone you love or yourself from being victimized by high control groups. The information provided in this video and many examples of abuse are not exhaustive. This is just a small portion of a broader study conducted recently. Please inquire at the International Cultic Studies Association for more information on cults and to find resources. One example of a cult imposing these forms of control comes from a group operating through Facebook and YouTube and located on a ranch in Cass County, Texas. The group operates as a hierarchy and has one prominent leader. Her name is Linda, and her inner team of administrators facilitate ranch activities, online group events, video calls, healing sessions, and other fundraising activities. Linda has elevated herself to God's status within her organization, often referring to herself as God Sophia, and claims to be a walk-in. A walk-in is an extraterrestrial being who has come into her human form. She claims to be a commander of beings from the Intergalactic Federation of Worlds who can speak light language. She often refers to her followers explicitly as humans, in an effort to promote this distinction between her followers and herself as an otherworldly being. An important note to include is that Linda's fiancé Mark is also expected to be joining the group at the ranch eventually. Mark is currently serving a 12-year prison sentence in federal prison for distribution, transportation, and receipt of explicit and graphic images children. Mark is promoted as a god within the group, and members are required to write or communicate with Mark while he is in prison. The ranch is promoted as being a family-friendly community, where children have resided previously. One control method used within this group is creating fear of a pole shift, where the magnetic poles of the Earth suddenly flip, causing major Earth changes and catastrophic floods. This was predicted by Linda to happen at the end of 2022 and early 2023. A ranch in Texas was purchased in order to build a community and provide safe haven for refugees when the waters rose. The group, who claimed to be a part of the 144,000 and her Dragon Council, would help her put an end to the world and help usher in New Earth. At the release of this video, the prediction has since failed to come to fruition, but the group has not issued any statements regarding this failed prediction. The new end times prediction includes the upcoming visit from a comet in February. A thorough case study was completed in order to better understand how this New Age spiritual group could gain control of followers and what the effect has been on members, as well as their families. Interviews were completed with members past and present. Additional information was gathered through publicly available social media platforms by the group itself. Lastly, interviews with community members linked to the group or with Linda provided insight and context in order to analyze and apply Stephen Hassan's BITE model of authoritarian control to this cult. Behavioral control is important to ensure compliance of members. Cults impose strict rules on behavior and interactions, including regulating individuals' physical reality. Members within the group analyzed are told that they are in a matrix and that everything is inverted. This would lead one to wonder what reality truly is. Linda preaches that families are manifestations of one's thoughts or aspects of oneself. Biofamilies, as they are now called, compete with the new family dynamic of the cult. cults dictate who a member can associate with or isolate from. By dehumanizing family and encouraging members to sever ties, it reinforces isolation. This can also involve moving members to other locations, like the ranch. Once a member is physically in the presence of the cult, all of the forms of control mentioned in this video are tightened, and gaining freedom becomes much more difficult to achieve. One victim's family members slowly cut off their friends and family members after joining the group. Once the family member moved to Texas, they barely heard from them. An ex-member explained, "Linda was trying to get me to leave my child and partner." Another member said, "Linda wanted all of us to dump our kids." Internal or external relationships, including sexual relations, are monitored, encouraged, or discouraged. There are examples from ex-members who witnessed family systems breaking down while a member was in the cult. This includes the group encouraging and actively helping to facilitate divorce, separation, and cutting off members' children. One member, while living at the ranch, explained that Linda actively and almost successfully separated her child from her while they lived together. Luckily, Linda was not successful and the family left. Disobedience is punished within cults as another behavioral control method. Punishment could be as innocuous as public shaming through online video or privately through Messenger. A member explains, "Linda waited 4 weeks to tell the group I was gone yet. During those 4 weeks, she continued to privately scorn me with such negative energy it was mind-blowing." This is from a God who isn't tied to human emotions because they are eternal. Threats to harm family and friends are other tools of control for cults. One member remembers, "Linda actually had me crying so hard, asking for source to take my life, is I didn't want to see my partner and child suffer from what she told me she would do to them." The same member recalls, "Linda would make us beat our 3-year-old child. She also made everyone be bit by her dog. That was part of her initiation. Our relationship really blew up when the dog bit our child." Another victim's experience includes threats for speaking out against the cult's acts of abuse against members, preying on vulnerable people, and the group's direct connection to a convicted sexual predator. In another instance, a member remembers, "We always heard the story about the infant who Linda says she killed the soul of. She had to save the baby from her own mother." Cults often exploit members for financial gain. In this particular cult, members donate thousands of dollars each month to live at the ranch, which doesn't include the further donations provided to the group for ranch equipment or upgrades to prep for the pole shift. Membership is required to be paid monthly to access the private Facebook groups, and conscious gratuities can be made for one-on-one sessions with Linda or other administrators. Although some of the financial contributions are no different from other spiritual organizations, this group has had examples of Linda taking advantage of people experiencing death or loss or in other vulnerable positions. A member explains, "Linda clung to anyone who was having a death, knowingly to use the brokenness to her advantage." A member elaborates on the predatory nature of the group. They said Linda purposely calls in and focuses on people with money. She lures them in and makes them feel special. Another member stated that Linda waited a long time for another member's dad to die. They drove straight out to the family home afterward to get things for the ranch. In another instance, members were all to watch out for a new member and make sure they get his money. He had $250,000 to give and was desperate for a family. Another member was quoted saying, "Linda chooses isolated people who have money so that they cannot be deterred or woken up by their immediate family." Another member's job was to keep one of the more affluent admins worship because she was the moneybags. They were told to make her feel like a god, and is why she was put as a leader right away. Terrible consequences are threatened to group members that leave cults, which is why it's so difficult for members to choose to leave. A victim who has since left the group explained that Linda told them that they were saved and made it into New Earth. However, their child and partner did not. The member would have to choose between their soul's everlasting dream or their human family. This was a constant discussion that took place 5 or 6 times a week. The cult leader stated that the member's family was not going to make it, but they still had a chance. However, if they chose their family, they will all die on Earth and it will be the end of their souls forever. This is the skull people believe, which is why they all leave their families for the cult leader. The same member also mentioned that Linda was always threatening that she would take their child and partner's souls. They would never exist again if the member didn't do what the cult leader demanded. Overall, getting involved in a cult can be very easy, particularly for people who are going through a vulnerable or difficult time in their lives. Cults often target people who are seeking answers or looking for meaning in their lives, and they use a variety of manipulative techniques to recruit and retain members. It is important for people to be aware of the tactics that cults use and to be cautious of groups that seek to control or manipulate their thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. If you are concerned about a group or organization that you are involved with, it is important to trust your instincts and seek outside help, including law enforcement, therapists, government agencies, and cult-specific support groups. Seek the advice of trusted friends, family members, or mental health professionals.